Hello, welcome to Inklings with Irena, the weekly energy show connecting you to your intuitive guidance system. Today I want to talk about energetic weather report. What is it? Why is it important? How can this help you? If we haven't met, my name is Irena Miller and I'm an intuitive energy guide and coach, and I have been guiding women, empathic women who are entrepreneurs, who are executives for over the last 20 years in knowing when the winds shift around them, when to take action, when it's in their best interest, when to hold back and just kind of stay low and have that extra patience. But essentially, having an energetic weather report gives you a bit of a heads up, it gives you an extra edge, and it helps you in pursuing your heart's desires. So let's jump into this. Energetic weather reports, what are they? So I really see this as kind of like insider information, a way to give you a little bit of extra information that isn't 100% common knowledge. The group collective, a large amount of people may know about it, but they're not necessarily taking action on it. There's a feeling that can't quite be articulated. This feeling of, I need to go to the store right now, or this feeling of, I need to call my friend right now. There's so many stories. I had one come to me recently of someone who had this inkling, essentially, this nudging to call a good friend of hers. And she kept getting it over and over and over. And finally she thought, okay, I'm gonna call. And she called, and unfortunately her friend had just passed away. So she was getting that connection, that little bit of an inkling of something's up, check in with the friend or with her family. There are other opportunities too, where you can look at the energy weather around you and choose how to engage. That prevents you from experiencing disaster. I have a client who right at the beginning of March had a trip planned to Germany. So she's going to be flying from the States out to Germany to visit good friends. She's a travel advisor. She had all sorts of meetings set up over there in Germany. And this was right at the beginning of COVID, right at the beginning of the coronavirus, where people were starting to become aware of what was going on a global basis. They were trying to decide, what do we do? And so my client had been looking forward to this trip. She had it planned for at least 6 months. She was so excited to go. Everything looked fine in Germany. Things looked okay in the United States, right there at the end of February when she was trying to make the call, do I go or do I not? And she said, hey, Irena, would you do a reading for me? And I love to do that for my clients. So what I did was I pulled some cards for her, one way to interpret the energetic weather around you. And I got some interesting cards. And I said, obviously, when it comes down to it, we have free will. So you can go. And if you go, it's going to be an interesting adventure trying to get home. It's not going to be very easy. You can try to shorten your trip. You can lengthen it. She didn't want to necessarily lengthen it, but however you try to get home, it's going to be very, very challenging, if not, almost impossible feeling. It was a 9 of Wands card, this feeling of this backbreaking, like I'm so close to home, but I don't know if I can make it. It's like running the marathon and being at the 26th mile and thinking, I can't take one step more, because you don't realize how close you are. So when I let her know that was on a Tuesday. And she was still trying to decide. By that evening, she decided she wasn't going to go. Wednesday, everything started shutting down in Germany. If she had flown out that week, which was the original game plan to fly out that Wednesday, she really was making this last minute decision because she wanted to go so badly. But if she flew out that Wednesday, she would have been stuck at the German airport and forced to turn around and come right back home. If she was even allowed out of the country and back to the States, it would have been an absolute nightmare. So I know for her, and I get goosebumps recounting the story, it was a very powerful heads up energetic weather report that she knew, yeah, you have free will, you get to make a choice, but let's see all of the information to help you make the best, most informed choice possible. Another type of energetic weather report is paying attention to what's going on in the stars above us. If there are eclipses happening, those are times of big shakeup and change. If Mercury is in retrograde, moments for introspection, moments where we really want to hone our abilities to communicate, because Mercury rules communication and technology. So we want to tune in and really start to feel, how am I showing up in the world? Let me review what I'm doing. Let me reintegrate the way that I approach my projects and tasks. It's a lot of the re's: relaxing, renewing, revigorating, re-energizing, reinstating, re-engaging old clients in your world rather than trying to do new. So for example, I have another client who has an agency, and she works for a couple different high profile clients as their OBM, office business manager. And what ends up happening is, just recently, is she had a client who absolutely wanted to launch during this latest Mercury in retrograde. And my client, knowing the energy weather report, and how Mercury can affect us, especially with a brand new launching something you've never done before, looking to grow your audience, bring in new clients. And this was a massive launch that was prepared. My client said, okay, listen, if we're going to do this, we need to give things extra time. That's very important in Mercury in retrograde, lots of extra time. Give it lots of chance to double check everything, double check communications, double check messages, that technology is going to work for us, and all of this information. We need to have it up front as soon as possible, so that as we dive into the launch, it's not going to come back to bite us in the butt. And the client said, oh yeah, sure, no problem. So anyway, it didn't come to be that they had extra time or that the work was done ahead of schedule, and they got right into the thick of Mercury in retrograde, and the launch started to kick off. And needless to say, it was one misstep after another, where technology was failing, where there was miscommunication on the team, where the team ended up working a lot of extra hours that were unexpected, expanding beyond their boundaries that they drew around their work limits, bleeding into their family life. So we see and experience these things firsthand. Now, does everybody experience wild Mercury in retrograde effects the same way? No, everybody experiences it slightly differently, especially there are other factors to take into consideration with that. But even from a high level, there's a lot of other factors that you can take in. One thing too to talk about is the moon. Sometimes just starting with the simple cycles of the moon, noticing on a full moon how you might have more creative energy, how it's harder to go to sleep, it's harder to fall asleep at night. You want to stay up late maybe and watch your favorite shows. There's that feeling of wanting to be expansive and connect. And then with a new moon, you might notice there's that feeling of being sleepier, wanting to go within, wanting to maybe have quiet time away from large crowds. So even the cycles of the moon, heck, you could even look at the cycles of the season as an energetic weather report. And this all kind of boils down to like turning on the weather report in the morning when you're trying to figure out, okay, what do I wear to work today? Or do I have to leave extra time to defrost the car because it's been outside and it needs to be de-iced? Or do I need to leave extra time to get to the airport because it's raining really heavily? Or what should I wear because even though it's humid and 97 degrees, it's gonna be like 62 and frigid in the office and I'm gonna have lots of layers. It's interesting, but having that little bit of a heads up from an energetic weather report is so incredibly powerful. It enables you to make the best, most informed decision possible. It saves you from all sorts of heartache and frustration. It really is a lifesaver. I know for me, I don't go a day without checking in, kind of like flicking my finger and putting it up in the wind. Which way is the wind blowing? Even just taking into consideration what sign is the moon in, because the moon definitely affects me. I feel that. My moon sign is in Cancer, so it's home space to be. So definitely some of us feel the cycles much more intensely than others, but wherever you are, you can still benefit from tuning into the energetic weather report. So let me know, do you do energy weather reports for yourself? Is there a methodology or modality that you like best to tune into the weather? I'd love to know. Some people I know into astrology, some people love cards, some people love to just meditate and see what comes to them, the inklings and feelings, those little nudges they get to call someone. Let me know if there's, tell me, I would love to know. What is your favorite? What have you used that you really connect with. And if you're interested in tuning into the energetic weather report to help harness the energies around you, drop me a little heart emoji. I have something special coming up and I would love to share it with you. So thanks so much for tuning in. It's wonderful to have you. I'll catch you all on the flip side. Mwah! Bye guys. Lots of love.